Hello, this is Roger G, and welcome to the YouTube video of the cruise that Lynn and I took from Singapore to Hong Kong. Our grandson Anthony told us that if we were going to Singapore, we must see the world's largest above-ground pool. The only way we could see it is to stay at the Marina Bay Sands Resort. And so here's the pool. It's on the 57th floor. This is an infinity edge to that, and so here we are 57 stories up with the buildings behind us, and here we are at sunset. We took a hop-on hop-off tour of the city. One of the main things that we saw was the Raffles Hotel. It's probably the world's most famous hotel. The surprise was that it was smaller than we thought it was going to be. We boarded the ship on the next day, and this right here above the SIG, that is the balcony to our stateroom, so we're right on the fantail of the ship. The day after we reported aboard, we took a cable car over the ship to Sentosa Island. There's this lion that is the symbol of Singapore. Our first stop was in Koh Samui, and the first thing we saw was this big Buddha that you could see 2 or 3 miles away. Not sure what this was. It looks like it's made out of junkyard parts. It could be a palace guard. Over here, this is Guan Yin, and this is the goddess of unconditional love. Lynn and I have adopted this goddess and made her our own. The next day, we went to Cambodia. Our first stop was supposed to be at this pagoda, and we were supposed to see the inside of it, but it was closed for cleaning. And then we went to another place where there was a pagoda, and there was also this sleeping Buddha. Now, a sleeping Buddha is in the last day of life on earth and ready to go to nirvana, which is comparable to the Christian heaven. And here are some kids who are beggars. They lined up to have their picture taken with me, and they expected to be paid, but I was smart. I left my wallet on the bus. The next stop was Bangkok, and we took a tour of the Grand Palace. And so this is a view of the Grand Palace from outside. And this right here is this massive golden pagoda. And here's a few unusual pictures that I took while we were there. First one was this statue of Marco Polo. And that is the most unusual face. But the Asians had never seen a European person before. And then over here, here's probably the largest sleeping Buddha in Thailand. Over here are children that are novice monks, and they're at the temple. It's very similar to our church camp. And then here's Lynn, a picture of Lynn taken with a palace guard. And then one of our fun things we did was take a tuk-tuk ride. That was a lot of fun. In Ho Chi Minh City, we took this Mekong River cruise. It felt like we got hit by a typhoon. That rain really came down. We got soaked. The next day, the weather was a lot better, and we went to these Cu Chi tunnels. There was about 250 kilometers of these tunnels, and my friend Jay, who was over in Vietnam about the same time I was, he said these tunnels were built right underneath the army base there. And so this is a Russian tank, and here is Lynn with what the Viet Cong uniform looked like, and this is the Viet Cong women's uniform. Back in Ho Chi Minh City, we went to this restaurant that the chef on our ship says was the absolute best in Saigon. We must have had 10 courses. Boy, was that stuff ever good. Here was an example of the kind of buildings we saw not only in Saigon, but all over Vietnam. The buildings are built on a 4-meter by 20-meter foundation, and then the richer the family is, the higher they would build. And another thing we saw was lots and lots of motor scooters, and it was quite an art form to walk across the street, and we had to learn how to do that. Our next stop was Da Nang. This is where I was during the Vietnam War. Our first stop, though, was to see this particular statue. This is a selfie I took in front of the Goddess of Mercy. And the statue was 17 floors high, and on each floor there was a small temple. These are the helicopter hangars that are at the Marine Corps base that I visit. This is all that was left. But even this little bit brought vivid memories of when I was there 50 years ago. The next place we went was Ha Long Bay, and one of the things we did is we visited a farmer's house, and it turned out the farmer was a former Viet Cong officer. Anyway, the most important room in their house contained this altar that was used for ancestor worship. Even though the ancestors died, they were still a part of the family's life. And up here is a bed with a bamboo mattress, and it certainly was a lot cooler, but I can't say that that mattress was very comfortable. And this is their kitchen, and I noticed the kitchen did not have any running water. The next thing we saw was a Zen Buddhist temple, and this particular Buddhist right here came from India, and he translated the Buddhist Bible from Chinese into Vietnamese. And this here was the Happy Buddha. He really wasn't a Buddha after all. He was a Chinese monk. There are children on the Buddha, and the children are pointing out the 5 senses of the human body. The next day, we took this junk cruise, and this is the junk right here. It was virtually identical to ours. And you can see there's a little boat here that came alongside, and they were trying to sell us fruit. And we went through these islands in Ha Long Bay, and there's over 1,900 of them. And they were pretty amazing. Here's a selfie I took as we were going between some of the islands. Our last stop was Hong Kong, China. And this is a selfie we took from the balcony of our stateroom, and we had that $1 million view of Hong Kong there in the background. And we had taken a hop-on, hop-off tour, and we had planned to get off at this Peak tram station, but when we saw the long line, we decided to forget it. So no Victoria Peak in this particular trip for us. Also, we went over to the Peninsula Hotel, and here's another selfie I took. And the Peninsula Hotel used to have this bar that was up here on the mezzanine right here. And this is where all the military officers and expats used to go. And it just had the greatest view of Hong Kong Harbor. Well, there was a big building that was built in front of it that killed the business. And so there's no bar on the mezzanine anymore. Our last day in Hong Kong before leaving back to Los Angeles, one of the things we did is we rode on the world's longest escalator system. So this is our tour guide here waving back at me. And then we went to this Chi Lin Nunnery, and this is really interesting. All this building complex was built without one single nail. At the nunnery, there was also these Nan Lian gardens, and these were very, very beautiful. Okay, this is it. We were at the Hong Kong airport, and we had a person take a picture of us. The flight from Hong Kong back to Los Angeles took 12 hours, and we departed at 5:58 in the afternoon, and we arrived at 2:58 p.m., 3 hours earlier the same day. That seems strange, but that's the way it was.